Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Trac, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
Welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast. Sitting here with Scott Edwards from Summit 7. Scott, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to.
Yeah, great event. I know you're on the agenda today. We're down here in Tampa, Florida, live and in person at CUI-CON, CUI-CON, whatever you want to call it, which apparently is getting very opinionated at this event. So, which is an inside joke. Yeah, I heard that.
This morning.
Yeah, so that's fun. But thanks for spending some time. I know it's a busy day. You guys have been in the space for a long time, and that's great. Yeah. Your background alone is impressive. Can you walk through a little bit for those watching, listening, who you are, what you guys do a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Scott Edwards. I'm CEO at Summit 7. We really pivoted specifically into this space back in the 2016-2017 timeframe. We had a customer come to us specifically for some ITAR data and NIST 80171 under the original DFAR 7012 requirement, and we were like, wow, this is a big deal, and we decided to pivot hard into it. And so we've been doing this for about 8 years now. It's been a great run, been a great ride, lots of up and downs over time. But it's been a lot of fun helping the DIB, really working in the defense industrial base to help secure our national data. It's really important.
Yeah,
and we feel a good mission toward that. So.
Yeah, and for those that don't know who Summit 7 is, I mean, you guys, your content's great. It is a educational space, and it will stay that way for a while still, as we all know, and things will change, and it's good. So you guys do a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys, here we are at the early part of 2025. This will be something that people might be watching down the road, but you guys just went through some exciting stuff yourselves. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. We actually just finished our certification assessments. We actually did 2 different certifications. We scoped out our environment. We've been building toward this since 2017. Mm-hmm. We launched our first managed services in 2018, and we launched it as a NIST 80171 compliant managed service back then for DFAR 7012. And then over time, as requirements have come and gone and modified, and now then went back to just NIST 80171. Mm-hmm. We continue to build out process and all the things that go with that. But so we scoped out 2 different environments. We scoped out our corporate environment that really is supporting our corporate infrastructure, and if we were going to go do a government contract or something like that, because we actually do have a couple of government contracts. Yep. So that scope, that DoD UID, is for that kind of work that we would do with the government, and then a second scope that is really brings in scope our Guardian and Vigilance services, which are our managed services, our managed IT and our managed SOC. Mm-hmm. And so those were in a scope, and we went through simultaneous assessments for both scopes at one time with our C3PAO. It was a really good exercise. Very proud of the team. The team worked really, really hard to make sure that, all the I's were dotted, T's were crossed, policies, procedures, technical configuration, everything was on point. And it went really fast, actually. We finished the actual assessment in about 2 days. They did a half day on site to check out our physical, and then they were able to check us off. And so big, milestone for us. I feel like it's a milestone for kind of the industry. It's really great to see lots of other ESPs, MSPs, MSSPs going through the same process as we kind of boot this ecosystem. Mm-hmm. It's great to see that. We see, friendly competitors that we are. Mm-hmm. It's a huge market. There's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of companies that need to be, secured. And it's great to see others doing the same thing and following those, walking the path together. Yep. To secure the DIB, and it's really important.
Yeah, well, congratulations, because that is,
thank you.
And I think it's safe to say the speed of the assessment was probably because of all the time and effort and the team preparation on the back.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah,
it's fun. But
yeah, it is. I mean, we have an amazing team. I can't say enough about them. Honestly, I had done preparation for this and writing documentation, back in the 2017, 2018 timeframe, doing configuration. Back in those days, I was actually doing a lot of the the actual work, of
Mhm.
building the stuff out.
Mhm.
But when it came time for this assessment, our team, they just handled it. I literally went in for the kickoff meeting and showed up for the out brief, and the team just handled it. Consummate professionals across the board, and man, I just couldn't be any more proud of them.
Well, it does help, right? When you have team trusted resources, you have, and it it feels weird because the
Yeah,
hands-on thing is hard to get away from
it
for
is.
sure.
It
And it's,
is.
but it is a testament. It is a relief that everyone's on the same mission, everyone's on the same understanding of what the goal is. And you hit it on the head too. This event's sold out, right?
Yeah,
Here we
yeah.
are, early part of 2025, and it is actually fun to see those that have been doing this for 7, 8 years to
Hmm.
go through the ups and downs. But yeah, not everybody can do everything, so it's good to see how other people are doing it and having success. It's been difficult to be able to provide that for OSCs looking for help, right? There was not
Right.
really a good verification model, and that's what everybody was asking about. Well, that's great about my own assessment. With this, how are my providers going to do it? So it's good to see it. Um, on that same note, then, what are some of the things through that experience that you guys went through that maybe 6 months ago, 12 months ago was more on the frustrating side, but now you see it, you see the outcomes happening, not
Yeah.
just passing, but what you actually see your customers say
Yeah,
now
our
makes sense.
our customers, the big benefit for our customers is the fact that now you know, we have that scope that we've identified, that we've gone through an assessment. We then tied all of that configuration that we did to our SRM or
Hmm.
CRM, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
customer model or shared responsibility model. We tied that, and so now we can provide that, and as any MSP or any MSSP should do, we can provide that shared responsibility model to our customers,
Hmm.
and they can really understand what they have to do over and beyond what we're doing to make sure that they're going to pass,
Hmm.
right? That is what we as MSPs, as MSSPs, have to be able to do, to make it easier. And then, the fact that we've gone through certification and others that have gone through certification, that should lower the overall cost of
Hmm.
going through an assessment,
Should,
because it's
yeah.
going to take less time.
Hmm.
You're not going to have to pay for as much time for your ESP to be sitting there with you,
Hmm.
right? Because if you can get through this assessment in 2 days instead of 5 and then a lot of pre-work,
Yeah.
that obviously lowers the cost of the actual assessment itself. Plus, it gives you more validation up front that you're ready,
Yep.
right? And so that's what ESPs and MSSPs and MSPs really should be about, is providing a service that can, at the end of the day, lower the cost
Hmm.
of cybersecurity and of compliance to our end customers.
Hmm.
And that should be the goal for the entire ecosystem,
That's right.
because there are not enough people. There's not enough time. There's not enough people trained, in the United States to have dedicated individuals for every single DIB customer. There's
Yeah.
just not enough of them.
Right.
And so the only way we as an overall industry are going to be able to get beyond this is by effectively using ESPs, to bring down the cost, bring down the overall number of people that we need, and then become more efficient over time. And that's what, I hope that Summit 7 is able to do.
Hmm.
And that's what I hope our entire ecosystem is able to do, because it's going to be critical. And it's not going to stop with the DIB. I
Right.
mean, with the FAR CUI rule
We'll
coming
expand.
out, it's going to expand,
Hmm.
right? And so we're going to see the federal contractors with the same problems.
Hmm.
NASA and Department of Energy and all the others, they're going to have these same requirements. And if we can get more efficient as an ecosystem, then we're going to be able to continue to expand that hedge of protection around
That's
more and
right.
more companies over time.
Yeah, and the efficiency side too, with on the responsibility
Yeah.
is, I mean, understanding that the ecosystem does have to solve the problem of not force it, but make sure it fits the customer, that you can take a lot of responsibility on for them, because they know what, who has time. We just talked about it. Hands on, it gets very very overwhelming.
It gets
And these
very
customers have
overwhelming.
businesses to run and different hats
That's
to
right.
wear and stuff, and to say, hey, stand this up and manage this and do all this is very hard.
Yeah, they don't have the expertise to do that, nor should they,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, you want your small machine shops that are, doing highly technical machining of parts for, various weapon systems. You want them focused on that,
For sure.
right? And they don't need to be worrying about, did I configure MFA correctly for my environment?
Yeah.
That should be our job, right?
Yep.
I mean, at home, right? I mean, maybe you do. I don't. I don't do my plumbing work, right?
No.
And I really look at ESPs and MSSPs and MSPs as a whole. I really look at us, and I say this and people laugh. I look at us as digital plumbers. I mean, effectively, that's what we are.
Mhm.
And we're just trying to make sure that the data keeps flowing, nothing gets clogged, nothing gets backed up, the tree roots aren't breaking the pipes.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's really important work though.
It's true, and thank you for highlighting that because yes, you can do a lot of people, and again, no one's fault. This is not a negative comment, but the natural human element things to do is I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this. We're going to do this,
Right.
and then you do as much as you can internally. And a lot of people went down that path. You know, we saw this since 16, 17 when it started coming out, and then time goes by. There's not that threat yet, but
Yeah.
then you find out you don't want to be doing your own plumbing. And it's like, well, maybe you did. Maybe you have a brand new set of plumbing in your whole house, and you look back and you're like, well, that took me 4 years, and I could
Right.
have paid to have and save the money. You know, so that's a guy. I do like that analogy. That's good. Yeah, there's probably other marketing things you could do with that probably shouldn't be on a podcast. But no, that's good. Well, thank you, because yes, thank you for highlighting that. It is good to get the perspective of those that have been doing this and those that have been through you see the results. It's going to be awesome in the next in 12 months from now to have the same conversation about what we're learning, what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And will be mistakes made. There's no question about that. But being prepared is massive. You know,
Yeah,
you've been through an assessment like that, be prepared, be organized, know who you're working with. There was a presentation yesterday that was really good about how hard this is to do. You can do it. And the presentation at the end of the day was like diagrammed it all out. And it took them like 20 minutes to even explain what they're talking about. That's not even beyond just a diagram. So,
Right.
but that's where there are experts and there are providers, there are people that are trying to do this the right way. So thank you again for joining for a couple minutes. Where
Sure.
do people go to connect with you and talk about
Sure.
Summit 7?
I mean, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit, Scott Edwards. And then we have our Summit 7 blogs and website, so just summit7.us. And then we also have a very active YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So we've got about 40,000 subscribers on that. Jacob and Jason and Joy and Daniel and Shane Ship. I mean, just there's a lot of people that are involved in that, and they do a great job. Our producer Dustin over there does a wonderful job of producing that content. So check us out on YouTube as well.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you. We'll do this again and we'll see where things are at. And it should be just as energetic because it's gonna be a crazy year.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Quick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and check us out on YouTube as well. For more information about Cuick Trac, visit our website at www.cuicktrac.com. That's CUICKTRAC.com.